Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Today I'm going to be reacting to a video called How Did Canada Chose Its Flag? Canada Explained. This makes me very excited to find out because I think Canada has one of the most, if not like one of the most distinct like flags all over the world. Like I think it's like the minute like you may not know enough or much about flags, but the minute that you see the Canadian flag, you're like, oh, that's Canada. It's very distinct. I love it how whimsical it is. Like it has a maple leaf. Like I love it. I think it's one of my favorite flags just because it's so again whimsical, charming. I love it. So I am hoping to find out like, okay, what was the reasoning behind this, because I love it. But let's check it out and comment, like and subscribe.
Canada's national flag is relatively new when compared to our closest allies, unlike the United States, which first used a version of its flag at the beginning of the Revolutionary War, and would evolve
also like the US flag has changed like quite a bit like throughout the years
over time by adding another star with every new state, or the United Kingdom, whose flag symbolizes a union of the three flags for Scotland, England, and
I love the symbolism of this one.
Wales, which date back to the early 12th century. Canada's current flag did not exist until 1957, almost a century after.
Like such an iconic flag, and like I don't know, like your grandparents like didn't like they lived like they were alive when like this flag was chosen. That to me is crazy.
After Canadian Confederation. Between Confederation and gaining our independence, Canada had many different flags. Our flags evolved, like our territory, to encompass new provinces and territories as they joined the Confederation of Canada. When Newfoundland and Labrador joined Canada in 1949, it became apparent that Canada had expanded its borders as far as it could, and it was time to create a national flag that represented all of our population. Thousands of proposals were put forward by students, professors, and even prime ministers. Here's a look at what Canada's flag looked like in the past and what it could have looked like today. For most of Canada's history, our flag wasn't determined by our government or Canadians themselves, but by our conquerors. An extension of the colonial feud between the United Kingdom and France, parts of Canada flew either the symbol of France or of England, depending on their allegiance.
Depending on like what side you're on.
The first flag known to have been flown in Canada was the St. George's Cross, carried by John Cabot.
I was like, isn't that like the England flag or something? Like I know that's a British thing.
When he reached Newfoundland in 1497. In 1534, Jacques Cartier planted a cross in Gaspé, bearing the French royal coat of arms with the fleur-de-lis. As the British began to dominate the region following multiple wars across almost every continent, most of Canada began to fly the Union Jack. This flag would continue to be flown in Canada up until 1931, shortly after Canadian
that's like quite recent to still be having like the Union Jack.
Federation in 1867, the need for distinctive Canadian flags emerged. Provinces had previously flown versions of the famous template of the British Red Ensign. Originally, Canada simply combined the coats of arms of its member provinces.
I don't like it.
And placed it on a red ensign as well. But this does not mean that everyone adopted the same national flag. As new provinces were added, the idea of simply combining coats of arms became increasingly convoluted. By World War I, the crest had become an exceptionally difficult flag to recreate. The sheer number of symbols and confusion.
Yes, I can't imagine. Like, there's a lot of detailing that comes in those like coat of arms and stuff. It's like, oh my god, could you please make this simpler?
Using crests led to different versions of the Canadian flag being flown within Canada itself, and sometimes by Canadian soldiers overseas. Yet, World War I provided a distinct opportunity. For the first time, all of Canada's member provinces were stationed in the same geographic region. At Vimy Ridge, the maple leaf, a symbol that first emerged on the badge of the 100th Prince of Wales Royal Canadian Regiment of Foot, began to be carved into the soft chalk wall.
I love it. Like, look at this. You can't beat this. It's so incredibly iconic to me.
Of the tunnels beneath the Canadian lines, emerging as a new symbol of national unity. In 1921, by proclaiming the Royal Arms of Canada, King George V made red and white the official colors of Canada. The search for a new national flag that would better represent Canada as an independent nation began in earnest in 1925, when the Privy Council set up a committee to investigate possible designs. This would mark the beginning of what is now called the Great Canadian Flag Debate, which would last almost 40 years.
What?
It wasn't until 1946 that the committee gave its first official recommendation, called, rather lazily, the 1946 Special Joint Committee.
What happened in those 20 years? Like, they were just using the other thing. Like, what was happening? Like, what flag should I use? Like in 1930?
Committee's recommended national flag. Sadly, this appeared to be a mere revamp of the Canadian Red Ensign, but it made one noticeable advancement. The committee recognized the maple leaf as Canada's national symbol, despite the fact that the design was never formally adopted. Throughout the time that the committee was working on their own flag, Canadians from every province proposed their own. Attempts to symbolize national unity by using multiple symbols often became very elaborate, and only compounded the issue with the crest in the red ensign that they had been trying to solve.
Yeah, I think like when it comes like obviously you want things to be very detailed because it's like, oh, it has to represent us. But I think like realistically, like the simpler the better.
Student submissions, like these, succeeded in incorporating symbols from every province.
I don't like that one.
Often incorporated too much symbolism.
Ooh. Oh, I like that one.
An image of Canada as a whole. Some attempted to do this by making the symbols abstract.
Okay, this one's actually adorable, but I get it. Yes, if it has like too many symbols, like I think like it loses the whole purpose of the flag because it's like you need to have like one distinct thing. So I think like yes, even though I actually really like this one. It sounds like a beeper. Like this is so cute.
Abstract. This proposal was intended to symbolize French and English.
That looks similar to a Confederate flag. Not really, but I don't know. It's giving me weird vibes.
Unity. Likely the closest Canada came to adopting a flag like this was called the Ephraim Cote, proposed in 1939.
Oh, this is
it
interesting.
Combined the Union Jack and the fleur.
Oh yeah, the fleur de lis. Like yes, this one's like the UK, France, and like us. I love this one.
De lis, with the maple leaf in the middle symbolizing the combination of the two. But Lester B. Pearson, a Prime Minister of Canada after World War II, wasn't pleased with any of these designs, and it seemed that Canadians weren't either. 20 years after the first committee came to their conclusion, a second was created. This second Select Parliamentary Committee was appointed with the same mandate as its predecessor and examined more than 2,600 submissions. Pearson even favored his own. Now
I'm starting to I would think like it starts to bleed into each other, and you're like I have to like check out like 2,000 flags. Like I can't remember like half of them.
Colloquially called the Pearson Pennant. The three maple leaves were supposed to symbolize the same idea of unity as the Ephraim Cote, with the addition of blue borders to reference Canada's national motto.
I like that one.
From sea to shining sea. Those that loved it with a passion, like Pearson.
I like
but those that hated it were in the majority.
Really?
So, a new design was proposed. George Stanley, a Canadian historian, teacher, and author, revealed his design. For the first time, the Canadian flag as we know it today began to take shape.
I don't like
Although
the things
Union
like
Jack and fleur de
I think like that one has the same idea of like the maple leaf in the center, the Union Jack and the fleur de lis, but I think like the other design was prettier.
lis would eventually be dropped, and the maple leaf changed in favor of a more simplistic 11-pointed design. The winner of the Great Canadian Flag Debate had become clear, making a clean, uncomplex version of the maple leaf center stage and removing symbols that would do more for national divisions than national unity, while using only the colors which were made official.
Maybe I was thinking about this. Like, it has a point of like we're not technically like the UK or a French like colony, so I think like we're Canadians, so maybe like drop the other things.
Actually, Canada's in 1921. Stanley had created the symbol that undeniably represents Canada as a whole to this day. Unlike other countries which needed to revise their flags every time a new province or state was added, Canada's flag is a symbol of a whole country being greater than the sum of its parts.
Aww.
Thanks for watching. If you liked this video and want us to make similar content in the future, please leave a like and consider subscribing. If you have any ideas for next week's video, please leave a comment and we'll be sure to check it out. We really appreciate any and all support as we continue to grow our channel and try to make the content that you enjoy.
Okay, I think like it makes it makes all the sense in the world. Yes, I think like it was very simplistic. I actually really did like the others. There was like the whole like I really like the one that the prime minister like was favoring. I would have voted for that one. It's like it's very cute. I do like the whole like there's like several actually I really like, but there's I like the red and the sort of like the white red. It was like the three like maple leaves with the white background and like the two blue stripes, because I think like it's pretty like the whole red, white, and blue. But it's very like eye-catching colors. I think like that would have worked as well. I don't know what people hated it with so much passion. I think like it's actually quite pretty. I don't know, like I personally I think it's like I would have liked that one. I would have voted. But I get like it's hard for me to like actually fathom like another sort of like Canadian flag, because I think like the one that they have is so completely iconic in my mind and so completely related to Canada that it's like it's weird to think of another flag as Canadian, because it's like, oh my god, that one's such a like when I look at it I think of Canada. It's like I don't know, I can't explain it. They made a really good job, I'll say that. It's like it's perfect. So it's like when you look at it it's like yep, like that's Canada, like with the maple leaf. I think like no other, I'm trying to like, yes, I think like there are no other flags that have, I'm pretty not knowledgeable about flags. I know very little about flags, but I think I'm trying to think like some other flag that has like the symbol, because this one has a maple leaf, but I think like most flags, they either have like stars, which I think is always like the whole, yes, everything always is stars, like flags and stars, the stars and stripes. No, but it's always stars, and of course like the stripes. There's always like a white or a, like I don't know, a green stripe, or like three stripes in like blue, white, and I don't know, yellow. I don't know, like different things. But it's always like either like stripes, bands, or like one color, or stars. Like there's always stars. Like the stars are all over, but I don't think like I've ever seen like a flag that has. Oh well, no, I think like I think it's Albania. I think it has like a lion, and I think the Wales one as well. No, the Albanian has, I think, an eagle, and the Wales has, I think, a lion, I think. But those are like, those are animals, which I think are a little less uncommon, but because, again, people do not, I don't know why, I would love it if, like, more flags had animals, but, like, an actual, like, plant, I don't think that's a thing. I think Canada is probably one of the few that has it, and probably the most like recognizable like for the world. Obviously, if you're from one particular country, which in the flag obviously has like a little flower, is like you're gonna be like, no, of course it's knowledgeable. Is it? Yeah, because you're from there. But I think most people like ask any non-Canadians if they recognize this flag, and they're gonna be like, yes, that's the Canadian flag. So I think like again they made a really good job of actually like the identity I think matches well with the flag itself, and besides I think it's like so charming. I think I would love it if more like flags had this, because it looks like it gives them a little like a whimsical aspect, a little like not like, yes, it's very charming. It's like, what do you mean your flag has like a maple leaf? Like that's such a like beautiful thing, and I love that it's very I don't know autumnal. Obviously for them, no, because I think I would assume that there's maple leaves like there's maple trees like all over the country, and they have obviously they're famous for it. So I would assume yes, maple trees like they grow maple like all year, like they're all year round. I don't even know how maple syrup is done. I don't know how they like extract like the maple syrup from those maple trees, but I would assume it's all year round. So I think it makes perfect sense. To me, I just associate like this particular of like, oh, the maple and stuff. I associate this with autumn. But I know that I'm wrong about this. No, of course in Canada it's all year long, but it gives me like the vibe, and I am imagining in my brain this very like, yes, it's like the land of like eternal autumn, which I love. It's like, oh, that's so cute. I love it. It's perfect. But I think like it's quite like funny. Something that I'm like, oh, well, yes. Like, because it's so recent, it's quite a feat that they managed to be so recognizable and so iconic in just a short number of years, because it's not a flag that's been around for it hasn't been 100 years, which I think it's wild. It's like, oh my god, and again, one of the most easily recognizable flags in the world, and it is not even 100 years old, which I think is crazy. But besides that, I like that there are like a lot of flags in other countries. Obviously, they kept adding to it because it's like, oh, someone joined, so we have to like put a new, we have to like add another star, or we have to like do something different because like our country is growing. I feel like one of the distinct things about this is that it only, like this flag only came to be once the country was already sort of like done. Like it's not a work in progress anymore. The flag like was put in place when we already like, no, we just grew as much as we could. Basically, we're not gonna grow anymore. Like this is, our country is done, our family is done, like it's complete. We're not adding anything, and we're not adding anymore. So I really do like that it was like when it's complete and where our country is actually like finalized is when we are actually going to, oh, we have to like create like a flag. It's similar, I would assume, like, I don't know, when you're like running a corporation or you have like, I don't know, I have a business. Not that it's, obviously it's not really like that because you actually do both things at the same time. But I think like it's funny because one of the things that I would imagine is like you would do is like, oh well, yeah, you know, the business is done. I already did all the bureaucracy. Now I have to like create a logo, and it's like, well, yes, but now you know like what your actual business is like, and what you have a good feeling of like, yes, you know, my I am envisioning like my business or my company, and it's gonna be like in this precise way, and that I think helps you a little bit when it comes to like creating, you know, a logo. So I think like it would be similar, obviously not the same, but a little similar to this. It's like, no, once it's complete, it's like we're gonna see, okay, what actual like things we can be, what kind of things are distinct enough to actually add onto our little flag that it's going to represent us, you know, or us, our whole family, because, you know, it's complete. It's not like we have to keep adding on it. It's like, no, it's already done, which I think is quite, again, maybe it took them a long time, but it's because, no, yes, we did it when the whole country was already done. Like when the cake was out of the oven, is already baked, and now is that we're actually going to create our flag. It's like, I like it. It's very nice. I think that the only thing that I'm like, okay, so why did it took them like 20 years? Like this, what happened in the 20 years, like from the first like flag committee? I would also love to like talk to, well, maybe they're not alive, but it's like, okay, what was it like being in that committee? Like the committee for choosing the flag, and you think maybe it's gonna take you like a few months? No, it took us like 20 years. It dissolved. Now it's like we have another committee. It's like, oh my god, you're not thinking this is gonna last like such a long time. And who was part of the committee? Like I would love to know how many people were there, and what kind of like what were they? I would assume that they had to like choose people from all different kind of like regions of the country for it to be like objectively, like, yes, you have to like make an objective decision. But I think, okay, what kind of professions do they have? Were they famous? Were just like random people? Again, would love to know. But I think like one of the things that I was like, oh, you know, looking at the clips, well, not clips, the pictures. It's like, I think I was thinking, it would be like a great film. I think I would watch that movie. Like it would be, I think it would make for a really, really good movie of like, well, choosing the Canadian flag. Obviously, I'm talking about it, sounds like really boring, but I think like the actual story and an actual movie about this, like I think you could make it like very interesting and very exciting. So I think now I want to watch like a movie. They should create this. They should make a movie about this, because I think like it would be a perfect film. But that was it for today, and I'll see you next time. Bye.